Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera dan salam ITM di hatiku. Anda bersama saya, Dr. Nurin.
Dan Dr. Marsha.
Di bahagian terakhir, iaitu bahagian 3 podcast kali ini. Okay, so di bahagian 1 dan bahagian 2, kita dah bercakap tentang preclinical dan clinical. So, siapa yang terlepas, boleh tengok bahagian 1 dan bahagian 2. Dan sekarang kita pula akan bertanya kepada Dr. Marsha tentang pengalaman dia sebagai alumni Fakulti Perubatan UiTM lah. So doktor, betul ke medical school ni susah sangat ke?
I think setakat ni medical school is one of my toughest journey lah in my life so far. Biggest stressor of course. Sebab kita ada exam one by one and it's always macam there's always another assessment. Lepas tu bila dah satu habis, ada lagi. Dia macam tak pernah habis. And with every assessment, there's always a fear of failing tau. So I feel like I'm constantly under pressure that not to fail, because in my mind failing will disappoint myself, and that thought alone puts so much pressure on me.
Yeah, sebab kalau dekat UiTM, kalau you fail and then you go remedial and you fail again, you kena repeat year, bukan repeat sem, repeat year. So benda tu sangatlah it's very scary for most of us lah. Betul? Of course kan. Yes. So Dr. Marsha, how do you cope dengan stress semua that yang you get from your study lah?
So I try my best to balance between study life and having time off for myself. So I never push myself too hard lah. So I deserve, bila I rasa macam kena relax, I just do it and just relax. Sebab no point kalau stressing pun non-stop and over pressuring yourself, dia tak akan membantu sangat lah. Dia just burden my brain. I pun tak boleh nak function well after that. So what I'll do is I ada coping mechanism and it involve my support system lah, which is my parents. So because rumah I dekat je, so every week I balik rumah, I spend time with my family, so I recharge the energy, the vibe semua. So it will become a very coping mechanism yang well for me and help me a lot with my stress lah. Other than that, I juga ada ramai kawan yang close with me, yang bila benda tu, time tu susah, diorang ada, time senang pun diorang ada. So we lean on each other lah. So I still remember masa year 1 kan, ada this one lecturer, dia cakap our batchmate is not our rival tau, dia kita punya comrades. So I found that to be true. Me and my friends, we run together, study group pun sekali, keluar enjoy pun sama-sama, study sama-sama, exam sama-sama. And whenever kita orang ada hard time, and we just enjoy most of the time together lah. I'm very lucky lah to have a very supportive friend and family lah around me. How about you, Dr. Nurin? Kalau you macam mana? You punya coping mechanism?
I punya coping mechanism Okay, actually I'm malu sikit nak cakap, tapi I main basketball. So I join the tournament. It's a league lah sebenarnya. So every week akan ada basketball game. So the match is continues for around I think 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
So yeah, every minggu memang I akan main basketball, because I think that's my only coping mechanism lah after studying for long hours. I rasa when I get to meet people, I mean my teammates, and then dapat main, releasekan all the stress. So yeah, although it's a bit hard lah kan, sebab you have to study and then on the weekend you main badan penat. So it's a bit hard, but alhamdulillah lah manageable. Yeah. Do you have any like hobbies ataupun activity yang you do to, as a coping mechanism?
Yeah, actually since year 1 sampai year 5 pun I stay active lah. I've always manage and join program and stuff. Macam Nurin masuk basketball. Kita pernah main juga sama-sama, netball. And we won. Kan? First place ke second place? Tak ingat.
Second place.
Tapi kita pernah menang lah. I mean, dia kena ada other things untuk buat juga selain daripada belajar. And joining programs and activity, something that excites me lah. I also enjoy joining events and inter-batch sport yang tadi kita cerita tu. And also ada chance to connect more, not just my batch, junior, senior juga. And it makes the whole medical school experience more connected lah. We feel like more like a big team. Besides that, I also suka juga join programs yang organised by faculty or other clubs. Before this, saya pernah masuk Bakti Siswa program. So it give me Baksis. Dia punya nama pendek dia Baksis kan. Which gave me the opportunity lah to engage dengan local community and interact dengan people kat situ. kita boleh dengar diorang punya cerita and understand dia punya health concerns yang dekat area tu, and then contribute juga. Dia small tapi dia impactful. So it's an eye-opening experience for me. Actually dekat kita punya fakulti ada banyak program yang kita boleh join, yang I rasa kadang-kadang some of my friends judge me lah, macam buang masa sikit kan. Tapi I personally think it is very helpful sebab dia akan build you punya character, your soft skills, your confidence, your teamwork. And bila you buat semua ni, dia macam fun tau. Macam you tak limit yourself to just education as well as social program juga. So you ada break from all the textbook and lectures.
And you see something out of your circle.
Betul? So selain daripada tu, aktiviti-aktiviti semua, of course, as kita muda kan, Nurin, mesti kita spend time benda yang best-best juga. Watch movie. Kalau I suka buat physical activity, macam brisk walk ke, hiking ke, stuff macam tu.
You suka hiking?
I suka hiking juga. So I akan reconnect dengan kawan-kawan I. Kadang-kadang keluar pergi hiking and stuff. So dia buat I relax sikit. I tak rasa stress sangat belajar and take my mind off the stress lah. So biasanya one movie lah to make me feel better, and then I boleh escape kejap, different world, come back and feel more refreshed to teruskan dengan medical school punya journey masa tu.
So how do you juggle between those two?
So yeah, actually very important part is discipline lah. Because kalau tak, you akan terpesong dengan semua benda yang aktiviti tu kan. So I akan buat schedule and follow schedule tu. Dia rigid sikit. Tapi kalau I tak buat schedule tu, I pun terpesong sekali. So for example, I buat program hari ni, I tak dapat nak study, I bangun awal. Ataupun I study sebelum I join program or buat aktiviti tu lah. Just macam ada make up time for the time yang I spend untuk benda lain tu. So dia kena balance dan juga consistent. Actually itulah the whole 5 years journey kan. Kalau Dr. Nurin pun agree kan. It's about consistency kan. Kita hari-hari nak bangun, nak pergi hospital, nak belajar. Bukannya macam a short period. Kita bukan robot. Lepas tu dia bukan short period. Dia macam for 5 years dia buat benda ni. As long as we manage our time, I think we can do both lah.
For me, I selalu remind myself yang I'm medical student before I'm a basketball player gitu. So I akan macam, okay, I have to prioritize my study first on top of games, tournaments, semua-semua tu. Okay. So, how many hours do you realistically you spend masa you untuk study? For a week ke?
Okay. Kalau untuk study tu, I make sure per day tu like 1 to 2 hours lah. So, in a week, kalau kita kali 2, dalam 7 to 14 hours. Depend on how packed the week is. Lepas tu kalau ada work yang lebih sikit, ada program sikit, I akan kurangkan sikit lah. More prioritize on my study lah. And try to be consistent lah each and every day. Macam tu.
Then consistency is key. So, every week, you have to study, spend at least 1 hour lah kan?
Betul?
Every week, sorry. Every day.
Every day.
Okay. So, every day you spend at least 1 hour to study. And I noticed kan, because I can active juga. I could say I'm pretty active in extracurricular activities. So, I have a friend yang dia a bit, dia nampak orang lain study, she's anxious. She get anxious, macam takut sebab dia tak study. But, I think it's important untuk remind yourself yang you ada your own schedule.
Betul?
Orang lain ada diorang punya schedule. So even kalau kawan you tengah study and you tengah relax, don't be too scared lah. Kan, jangan rasa anxious macam I kena study sebab orang ni study. Padahal we all have different schedule, different time. So maybe waktu dia main-main, you tidur macam tu kan.
Ada pace, lah. Semua orang ada different pace kan.
Based on each to their own lah. Their own space. Okay. So do you have any challenging atau macam mentally challenging waktu clinical ataupun pre-clinical is?
Okay.
Any encounters ataupun event yang buat you macam mentally very exhausted?
Yeah. So sebab belajar ni lama and ada banyak events juga yang happen. So I pernah je burn out masa year 5. We were halfway through year 5 tapi I memang stress betul. Because sometimes kan bila the assessment during belajar medical school ni, you ada banyak exams, and bila you rasa you didn't do well in that exam, it affect you juga tau. Bila backside teaching ke, kita panggil BST, backside teaching ataupun end of posting. So dia affect my confidence lah. I think itu yang buat I rasa as a final year student, I tak dapat manage do well in my end of posting. I rasa macam my confidence nak jadi doktor tu kadang-kadang shaky sikit lah.
And especially sometimes you cannot help but compare yourself to others tau. Macam orang ni boleh jawab soalan doktor, kenapa aku tak boleh jawab kan? Ataupun this person can do this, kenapa I tak boleh excel in this gitu. But at the end of the day, comparison is the thief of joy lah.
Betul.
Kan? So as long as you know you have the confidence in yourself, you know you punya pace, you can just keep going kan.
Lepas tu because I dah tahu dah, I macam ada problem sikit lah masa end of posting, masa my 5th year semua tu. So I start to slow down sikit with the extracurriculars. And tapi because of I dah biasa aktif. Macam you pun dah biasa aktif kan. Bila tiba-tiba you fokus belajar je, you rasa boring sikit tau.
Betul. You
rasa macam it's just study minded, study focused life je.
Macam so I need to release this
dia punya stress tu kena release kan. So dia tak ada balance lah. So dia akan affect you emotionally and physically jugalah. Dengan pro exams coming. So I rasa macam I tak good enough, I'm not doing good enough. Dia macam ada tough period jugalah untuk masa my 5th year tu.
So at that time, macam mana you overcome you punya burnout tu?
Yeah, I overcome it dengan talk to my mentor. Sebab dekat medical school ni kita ada program mentor-mentee. And also I cakap dekat my parents lah. Diorang pun yang banyak membantu and remind me not to be hard on myself sangat. Too hard. Sebab okay je kalau tak perfect all the time pun. Macam kadang-kadang ada sikit-sikit problem tu kan. Doesn't mean like
be good in everything.
Kadang-kadang tak adalah tak kata I tak graduate pun sebab I tak bagus in one exam. It's just sometimes kita je yang put too much pressure on ourselves.
So one exam does not, if you fail, that exam does not determine you as a person kan.
Betul.
Because you have accomplished so much. You dah go through, dah lepas SPM. I mean of course lah kena excel SPM. And then you go through asasi. And then here we are. So just because you fail one exam doesn't mean your life is ruined.
Betul
tak? Kan?
It's just satu hiccup je in my journey tu. Itu je. I rasa it's just one hiccup lah. So I also stop pushing myself too much daripada force myself kan, study group ke non-stop ke apa. I macam take breaks lah. So just like spend more time dengan orang yang feel I rasa supported and then I rasa better.
You kata you balik setiap minggu kan?
Ya, I rajin balik.
Dr. Marsha PBSM.
I rajin balik. PBSM.
Satuan balik setiap minggu.
Saya antara salah satu ahli aktif.
Ahli aktif. Saya pun sebenarnya.
Ahli aktif.
Kita duduk dengan rumah kan? Dekat dengan rumah kan? So, Dr. Marsha, pernah tak you encounter patient yang difficult?
Difficult patient Difficult patient, yes, I did. Actually, very eye-opening punya experience sebab ini first time lah. Selalu kita dengar masa kita belajar dalam lecture je tau, patient with HIV kan. But this time I jumpa patient living with HIV. I was quite nervous lah. I tak tahu macam mana I nak approach dia. Will she be willing to open up the story? Nak cerita ke? Nak actually entertain ni lah. To clock kan. Tapi bila I explain, I genuinely cakap nak tahu, nak belajar kan. Dia pun okay. So dia admitted untuk lymphoma tau. So dia cakap lah kenapa dia come forward, seek medical help. And then dia takut dengan stigma. Actually as a student pun kita pun macam mula-mula macam nervous sikit. Sebab kita tahu dia okay ke tak dengan kita. But then dia pun rasa takut juga sebenarnya dengan healthcare workers semua kan. Sebab kita takut, diorang takut kita treat them differently because of the diagnosis lah. Masa tu macam it really struck me hard because behind all the disease ni yang kita belajar ni sebenarnya a person still a person lah. It's not just a person, it's not a diagnosis lah. Kita boleh cakap patient HIV.
Your book study.
So benda encounter tu reflect me lah untuk what kind of doctor yang I want to be. I want to be a doctor yang listens without judgment. Feel safe, diorang nak share apa-apa pun rasa safe and see them as a person lah, not just a diagnosis berjalan, but diagnosis on a person. Yeah.
So I'm glad lah that she's comfortable enough to tell her story lah kan. Sebab I think not many patients, no actually macam yelah diorang pun takut lah.
Betul?
Kita pun takut kita I mean those things can be sensitive kan. Kita takut kita terlukakan hati diorang ke kan, like that kan. So on top of that, pernah tak you encounter patient yang meninggal ataupun you know yang like suffering from life ending macam tu?
Life ending situation, itulah bila kita jadi doktor, kita dah banyak biasakan diri kita deal dengan patient, kita tolong selamatkan or like help them to go through life kan. But kita tak boleh deny juga yang part of life Ada hidup, ada mati juga. So masa tu I encounter lah this kind of situation, death lah, patient death. I memang termenung the whole day because first time dia family member lain, patient lain, and as a medical student masa tu, it hits me hard lah.
Is that patient tu you clerk ke?
Yeah, I encounter I clerk kan. It really made me realise macam hidup ni fragile je tau. So kita dekat macam you cakap lah kan, dekat lecture, dekat textbook kan, death is often described clinically as another complication of a disease. Katalah shock, bleeding to death. Something yang you kalau jawab dalam exam is just on a paper. But this time you tengok patient tu real life and you rasa macam the burden and macam I emotionally I rasa affected lah the whole day masa tu. Lepas tu in real life it's not like that lah. It's not something yang macam it's just a complication, death tu kan. So when it actually happens in front of you, you see how deeply it impacts like everyone and family members, staff and students kita pun. And being a good compassionate doctor means that doing my best to reduce the patient suffering lah, to support through pain and possible whenever possible lah to prevent death. Tapi yelah, sebab kita tahu dalam hidup ni ada hidup dan juga mati. So bila kita tak boleh nak buat apa-apa, kita just hold the hand, family members ke, and then just dengar lah, to be there present actively. Yeah. Lepas tu it's also to be affected by death. Maksudnya I'm still human. I still rasa feelings and emotion. Maksudnya I tak ada dah macam patung datang tengok orang meninggal tak ada apa-apa. So I rasa sedih tu, I rasa I okay lah, I still ada empathy kan. It's important lah to carry that empathy with us because no matter how clinical things get, you get busy with your life dengan you punya kerja, at the end of the day kita bukan treat disease je, kita treat people.
Ada tak like you say kan, you it's an eye-opening punya encounter kan, ada tak other ways yang medical school has changed you, maybe as a person?
As a person, I think to be more compassionate lah most of the time. Macam kita tak boleh nak judge satu orang on that one day je. Kita macam bila saya jumpa patient, kita dapat tahu background dia punya social history semua, it affects you macam mana you nak manage the patient. Because bila you tengok patient kadang-kadang the problem is medical, tapi dia boleh jadi juga benda yang macam dia punya social background dia. Mungkin kalau macam tadi kita cerita pasal death kan, kita boleh cerita pasal isu family macam geriatric patient. Tak ada family member nak jaga, abandon, tak ada enough source nak provide untuk dia punya living, ongoing living kan. Benda-benda tu juga affects me lah, to be more compassionate.
Okay. And then when you work kan, as a houseman, you encounter death. But you boleh grieve like 1-2 minutes and then you have to go back to your work. So benda tu sangatlah, it's very hard lah kan.
To shift dia punya,
betul, shift your ni daripada you tengah sedih and then you have to be okay, terus switch your emotions lah. Tadi you kata you had a hard time in year 5, right? Your 5th year, final year kan?
Betul.
Are you in a better place now?
Definitely in a better place. Dah habis dah all the stresses semua, dah selesai. Dr. Nurin pun dah selesai juga. So medical school dia change me a lot, not just in terms of knowledge yang I dah gain for the past 5 years, but also how I view people in general. People often say you kena jadi pandai tau to survive medical school, but lagi penting sebenarnya to have compassion and passion lah. Because kalau you nak tunggu pandai je, I think the one yang drive me lah for the past 5 years would be passion and discipline. Untuk betul-betul be all out lah for the past 5 years kan. Through the years, I learned to be more understanding and empathetic, especially bila dealing dengan patient with different backgrounds. Kita cakap tadi pasal different background, pasal death, and I also become more disciplined and self-aware. So because I tahu dah my limit kat mana, and I learned the importance to reach out for help juga when I need lah. Because I pun human juga, I pun burn out juga. So in short, medical school doesn't just shape me into a future doctor, it also help into shaping me a better person lah.
For me, going through medical school kan, I rasa it's best to have persistency and also like endurance lah. I think it's a battle of endurance.
Betul,
okay.
I would agree. Resilience, endurance.
Resilient, betul. Because you know, it's a long journey kan, bukannya short. So kena endure benda tu. Okay, thank you Dr. Marsha.
Thank you Dr. Nurin.
Okay, hopefully the medical students out there boleh ambil nasihat dan perkongsian daripada podcast kali ini and help you in some ways or another. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.